Right now, inside a heavily guarded facility in Solihull, England, a robotic arm is performing the 15,847th precision weld on what will become a 120,000 pounds Range Rover. But here's the shocking truth nobody talks about. This British luxury icon isn't actually controlled by a British company anymore. In fact, the real story behind who makes Range Rover involves a £2.3 billion secret that changed everything about how these vehicles are manufactured. And by the end of this investigation, you'll understand exactly how an Indian conglomerate quietly became the guardian of Britain's most prestigious automotive legacy, while revolutionizing luxury manufacturing in ways that even Ford never imagined possible. To understand this transformation, we need to go back to one of the most extraordinary corporate rescues in automotive history. It's 2008, the global financial crisis is crushing automakers worldwide, and Ford Motor Company is hemorrhaging cash at an unprecedented rate. They're desperately trying to sell their premier automotive group, which includes both Jaguar and Land Rover, but finding buyers for luxury British brands during a recession seemed nearly impossible. That's when Ratan Tata, chairman of India's largest industrial conglomerate, stepped into the picture. While other potential buyers saw expensive British brands with declining sales and uncertain futures, Tata saw something completely different. Untapped manufacturing potential and heritage brands that just needed the right investment strategy. Here's what makes this deal truly astonishing. Tata Motors paid £2.3 billion for Jaguar Land Rover, which was actually more than Ford had invested in these brands over 8 years combined. But this wasn't just a standard acquisition. This was a strategic gamble that would either save Range Rover's heritage forever or completely destroy everything that made it special. The financial press had a field day with this story, calling it industrial colonialism in reverse. An Indian company rescuing British automotive icons that had been struggling under American ownership. Critics questioned whether an Indian manufacturer could possibly maintain the craftsmanship and luxury standards that Range Rover customers expected. Yet what happened next would prove this wasn't about national pride or corporate prestige. It was about completely revolutionizing luxury manufacturing on a global scale. Now, understanding who owns Range Rover is only half the story, because the real secret lies in how they're actually built, and this is where Tata's influence becomes absolutely extraordinary. Let me take you inside the Solihull manufacturing facility, which isn't your typical assembly line by any stretch of the imagination. Watch this precision engineering unfold right before your eyes. 48 industrial robots perform over 3,000 individual welds in under 2 minutes, creating what's considered the strongest aluminum monocoque chassis in the luxury SUV segment. But here's where Tata's transformation becomes truly revolutionary. Every single Range Rover that rolls off this production line undergoes exactly 24,000 individual quality checks, which is more than any other luxury vehicle manufacturer in the world. That breaks down to one quality inspection every 18 seconds of production time. The aluminum body construction process alone involves 7 distinct stages that showcase this incredible attention to detail. First, high-strength aluminum panels are precision cut using laser technology with tolerances measured in fractions of millimeters. We're talking about accuracy that's almost impossible to achieve with traditional manufacturing methods. These panels are then assembled using Tata's proprietary self-piercing rivet technology, which is a process that creates joints that are 40% stronger than traditional welding methods. Witnessing this level of manufacturing precision in person is genuinely mesmerizing, because each robot operates with computerized accuracy that human hands simply cannot match. Yet here's the fascinating paradox that makes Tata's approach so unique. They invested heavily in preserving traditional British craftsmanship alongside all this robotic precision. The leather stitching process still requires master craftspeople who undergo 18 months of specialized training before they're allowed to work on production vehicles. Each steering wheel alone receives 2.5 hours of hand finishing, which is a luxury touch that Ford's cost-cutting measures had nearly eliminated entirely. This combination of cutting-edge automation with traditional craftsmanship is what sets Tata's approach apart from every other automotive manufacturer. But here's where the story becomes truly revolutionary, because Tata didn't just rescue Range Rover. They completely reimagined what global luxury manufacturing could look like when done properly. Under Ford's ownership, Range Rover production was limited to Solihull in the UK, which was a single facility producing roughly 150,000 vehicles annually with limited expansion possibilities. Tata's vision was completely different. They wanted to create a synchronized global network that could maintain British quality standards while dramatically expanding production capacity. Solihull remains the flagship facility, but now it produces 300,000 units annually with those same 24,000 quality checks per vehicle that we talked about earlier. But Tata's real innovation lies in how they expanded beyond Solihull. Halewood in the UK received a £500 million retrofit specifically designed for electric vehicle production. And this facility uses something called the KUKA Pulse Conveyor System, which is technology that's 30% faster than traditional assembly lines while somehow maintaining those same precision tolerances. Then there's Nitra in Slovakia, which became Land Rover's first European production facility outside Britain. Here's what makes this unprecedented. This plant achieves identical quality standards to Solihull while operating 15% more efficiently through advanced automation that Tata developed specifically for this facility. Most remarkably, the facility in Pune, India marked the historic first time that Range Rover production happened outside the UK in the brand's 54-year history. Yet these Indian-manufactured Range Rovers meet exactly the same engineering specifications as their British counterparts, which proves that Tata's global strategy actually works in practice. What's absolutely extraordinary about all of this is how Tata maintained British manufacturing excellence while expanding globally, which is something that Ford never achieved in their 8 years of ownership, despite having significantly more resources at their disposal. Nevertheless, the most groundbreaking innovation isn't something you can see on the production line itself. It's Tata's revolutionary approach to supply chain transparency, which is literally reshaping luxury manufacturing standards across the entire industry. Range Rover has implemented the world's first blockchain-verified leather supply chain, which means every single hide is tracked from farm to finished seat using digital ledger technology. This isn't just marketing speak. Customers can literally trace their vehicle's leather back to the specific cattle ranch in Scotland or Ireland where it originated, complete with information about farming practices and environmental impact. But this transparency revolution goes much deeper than just leather tracking. Tata introduced what they call science-based targets for environmental impact, committing to a 46% CO2 reduction by 2030 and achieving net zero emissions by 2039. They've also implemented closed-loop aluminum recycling, which means 75% of aluminum in new Range Rovers comes from recycled sources rather than newly mined materials. Here's what makes this truly extraordinary. Tata developed comprehensive supplier diversity programs that Ford had previously considered too expensive to implement. Today, 28% of Range Rover components come from minority-owned suppliers, which represents the highest percentage in the luxury automotive sector by a significant margin. The quality assurance network now includes 847 global suppliers across 33 countries, with each one meeting identical standards regardless of their location. Tata's investment in supplier education programs ensures that a brake component manufactured in India meets exactly the same specifications as one produced in Germany or the UK. which creates unprecedented consistency across the entire supply chain. This level of supply chain integration was Ford's impossible dream for years, but Tata's long-term investment philosophy made it an achievable reality within just a few years of the acquisition. Now, the results of this £2.3 billion transformation are absolutely staggering, and they provide concrete proof that Indian stewardship actually enhanced British luxury heritage rather than diminishing it in any way. Under Ford's ownership, the average Range Rover sold for approximately £42,000, but today that figure has risen to £70,000. This isn't the result of arbitrary price increases or market manipulation. It's the result of genuine value enhancement that customers recognize and willingly pay for because Tata's quality improvements are measurably superior to what came before. The break-even analysis tells the complete story of this transformation. Ford needed to sell 660,000 Land Rover vehicles annually just to break even on their operations, but Tata reduced this requirement to just 300,000 units through operational efficiency and premium positioning strategies. This wasn't achieved through simple cost-cutting measures. It was the result of strategic brilliance in manufacturing and marketing. Revenue per vehicle increased by 67% while manufacturing costs decreased by 23% simultaneously. This seemingly impossible combination resulted from Tata's strategic investments in automation technology and comprehensive supply chain optimization that Ford had never been willing to pursue. Here's perhaps the most compelling evidence of Tata's success in this transformation. Customer satisfaction scores increased by 34% since the acquisition, while warranty claims decreased by 41% over the same period. Range Rover now ranks third globally in luxury SUV reliability, which is a position it never achieved during Ford's ownership, despite multiple attempts at quality improvement. The brand valuation numbers speak volumes about this transformation's success. In 2008, automotive industry analysts valued Land Rover at approximately £1.8 billion. But today, conservative estimates place the brand value at £15.2 billion. That represents an 844% increase in just 15 years, which is unprecedented in the automotive luxury segment. Perhaps most remarkably, Tata achieved this entire transformation while preserving every aspect of Range Rover's British identity and heritage. The Solihull workforce actually expanded by 47% under Tata's ownership, which completely disproved critics who feared that Indian ownership would inevitably mean job losses in the UK manufacturing sector. If Range Rover's transformation from British struggle to global manufacturing success fascinated you, then you're going to be absolutely amazed by our next investigation into how a British billionaire decided to build his own Land Rover when Jaguar Land Rover discontinued the original Defender design. Our upcoming deep dive reveals the incredible story of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Britain's richest man, who was so frustrated by the loss of the old-school Land Rover Defender that he invested over £1 billion to create his own version from scratch. We're talking about a petrochemical magnate who had never built a car before, but somehow managed to establish a completely new automotive manufacturing operation that rivals traditional automakers. Click that next video to discover how the Ineos Grenadier gets built in a former Mercedes factory, why Ratcliffe chose Austrian manufacturing over British production, and the shocking revelations about how one man's personal frustration led to the creation of what many consider the spiritual successor to the original Land Rover Defender. You absolutely won't believe the lengths this billionaire went to just to build the perfect off-road vehicle that major automakers refuse to make.